Meet Jasper, a mischievous kitten with a vendetta against school. But what drove him to commit the ultimate act of rebellion? Was it the grueling homework, the strict teachers, or something more evil? Watch as Jasper's plan unfolds, and the shocking truth is revealed. But be warned, you might just find yourself rooting for the kitten. Subscribe for more thrilling cat animations and stay tuned for the next episode. Jasper, a mischievous and clever kitten, sat at his little desk at the back of the classroom. His ears twitched with irritation as the teacher, Mr. Whiskertone, droned on about equations written in perfect chalk lines on the blackboard. The classroom smelled faintly of chalk dust and freshly sharpened pencils, but to Jasper, it felt like the stifling air of a prison. He stared blankly at the blackboard. He hated everything about school, the endless boring lessons that made his head ache, the strict teachers who never appreciated his cleverness, and the piles of homework that felt like chains dragging him down. His gaze drifted to the window, where the golden afternoon sun poured through the glass. Birds chirped happily in the distance, and a soft breeze made the leaves of the oak tree outside rustle. Jasper longed to be out there, free, untamed, and doing something exciting. His mind began to wander, as it often did during class. Today, his thoughts returned to his favorite secret pastime, plotting revenge. His whiskers twitched with annoyance. He had had enough of being forced to sit still and learn things that didn't matter to him. Enough of being scolded for letting his curiosity take him places the teachers didn't want him to go. When the bell finally rang, Jasper practically jumped out of his seat. The classroom buzzed with the chatter of kittens excited to go home. When he got home, his mother, Luna, noticed his gloomy face right away. She was a gentle, loving mother that always seemed to see right through him. "Jasper, darling," she said, tilting her head, "why do you look so sad? You should be cheerful after school, not like this." "I don't want to go to school anymore. I hate school, Mom," Jasper mumbled, with tears in his eyes. Luna took a deep breath and encouraged him to keep going to school. She also promised to get him things from the mall. Jasper was relieved a bit upon hearing that. Luna watched him closely as he dragged his paws up the stairs to his room. That night, Jasper lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. The moonlight streaming through his window painted silvery patterns on the walls. His mind swirled with frustration and anger. He thought about school, the long hours, the rules, the endless lectures. "Something has to change," he whispered to himself. He kept thinking, his thoughts dark and determined, until exhaustion finally pulled him into sleep. The next morning, Jasper was jolted awake by his mother's cheerful voice. "Jasper, time to get up," she called from downstairs. Jasper groaned, pulling his pillow over his head. He wasn't ready to face another day of dull lessons and strict teachers. Anger bubbled inside him as he sat up, his fur slightly ruffled. "This has to stop," he thought. "I'm done with this." From that moment, a plan began to form in his mind. It was dangerous, reckless even, but Jasper didn't care. He was determined to set things right, in his own way. Over the next few days, Jasper started gathering materials in secret. He slipped matches and old newspapers into his backpack, careful not to draw attention. He even found a can of liquid substance in the janitor's shed, its sharp scent making his nose wrinkle. Each day, he pieced his plan together, his heart pounding with excitement and fear. Then, on a quiet night under the full moon, when the world outside was hushed and still, Jasper crept out of his house. The moonlight bathed the town in a pale glow, and the air was crisp and cool. Jasper's shadow stretched long and thin as he approached the school, his movements swift and purposeful. The school loomed before him, dark and silent. Its windows glinted like cold eyes in the moonlight. Jasper's paws trembled slightly as he pulled out the materials he had gathered. He worked quickly, dousing the classrooms with the liquid in his hand, the sharp smell filling his nose and making his ears twitch. Finally, he struck a match. The small flame danced in the darkness, reflected in his wide green eyes. With a flick of his paw, he dropped it onto the liquid-soaked floor. The fire roared to life, orange and red flames licking at the walls. Jasper stepped back, his heart pounding as he watched the flames spread. The sound of crackling wood and shattering glass echoed through the night. Smoke billowed into the sky, blotting out the stars. For a moment, Jasper felt a thrill of triumph. He had done it. He had destroyed the place that had caused him so much misery. But as the fire raged, a pang of guilt crept into his chest. He thought of his classmates, who would wake up tomorrow to find their school reduced to ashes. He thought of his mother, who would surely notice his strange behavior. By the time the sun rose, the school was nothing more than a smoldering ruin. The townspeople gathered around, their faces filled with shock and disbelief. Kittens whispered to each other, their eyes wide with fear and curiosity. Who could have done this? They wondered aloud. Jasper stood among them. He kept his face calm, but inside, his thoughts raced. He had taken a stand against a system he hated, but at what cost? As the investigation began, Jasper's fate hung in the balance. Would someone discover his secret? Would he be caught and punished for what he had done? Or would he remain a shadowy figure, the mysterious kitten who burned down the school? Only time would tell. For now, Jasper just watched the smoke rise into the sky, a strange mixture of pride and regret flickering in his eyes.
Sweet escape, click, click, flash, memories in gold, living stories yet untold. Every picture young and bold in our hands, the world unfolds. Click, click, flash.